Hi, we're Option Conservation, and this is the Shoot Room Sessions. George, welcome back to the Shoot Room, this time on tour. Where are we?
We are in Drum House, which is a fantastic property in the heart of the Cairngorms.
Wonderful. Why are we here, George?
We are privileged to have bought Dorback Estate on Monday. So we're 48 hours into our estate ownership at this point. And what better place to be than round a fire?
And why is it such a significant purchase for us and the sector in general?
For us, it's the biggest by scale, the biggest by value. 15,000 acres is incredible scale. This estate has been sold twice in 300 years, we think, so it's pretty monumental for the area. And I think we worked out, which I still can't believe, that by buying this estate, we connect something like 500,000 acres of space for nature, which is, pretty remarkable and a really, a real opportunity for us to make some impact.
So, you were instrumental. Many might say you bought the estate. Can you take us through the acquisition process? So, take us back to the beginning. When did you first become involved in this estate and the view of us potentially purchasing it?
I think the thing that I love about working as an in-house lawyer is that you get involved literally as early as, soon after you've heard about it, I get to hear about it, which is really exciting. Because in private practice, you tend to, be given an opportunity to work on an acquisition, which is probably agreed, commercial terms are pretty much there. And I thought, you're then basically papering the acquisition. Everybody wants you to just, get it done as quickly as you can. We've agreed it. It's done in everybody's heads. We want to move on and start working on it. So, to have the opportunity in-house to work on it from the start, which is, we've just seen somewhere fantastic on paper. We're going to do some modelling. Can you have a look at, some company's house records or, some land paperwork, whatever it might be, all the way through to, being here, having just acquired the estate after 9-10 months of work from huge range of people across the team and then within our professional networks, to do that. And then we've got, that's the easy part because now we're owning the estate and we've got, 10 years of work to do here to start the natural process regeneration that we want to achieve here. So it's a really privileged position to have the opportunity to do that. And I said to see it from start to finish, is a fantastic opportunity and experience.
We've just started. So literally a couple of hours ago, the announcement of the estate went public after we saw the local tenants and residents and neighbours last night to make sure they knew first. You shouted out some of the people that have helped us out there. Give people an idea of the range of professional partners we work with on an acquisition like this.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I think on that LinkedIn post, I was starting to work through the amount of people, individuals who've been involved, and it's like over 20, and that's external to our team of 15 or so people within our team have worked a lot and very, very hard on this acquisition. So that's land agents on both sides, it's lawyers on both sides. Our fantastic insurance brokers. We've got due diligence partners who we've used for the first time on an acquisition like this because of the scale and the opportunity. It's a whole host of really dedicated professionals who are instrumental in bringing something like this together. It doesn't just happen. It is a huge labour of love.
It literally takes a village to buy an estate, doesn't it? Yeah. All the way through from our incredible investors who would be amiss if we didn't say thank you. We really appreciate the trust you've placed in us and the ability you give us to buy incredible places like this. Just an unbelievable acquisition and process. And as much as we jest, this wouldn't have been possible without you. So incredible acquisition, George. Thank you.
No, it's such a privilege. And we've within our team, everybody is so instrumental in getting the deal done. Everybody inputs into our acquisition paper, which is a real substantial document at this point, and it really kind of for us documents. This is our first, landmark piece of paperwork for the estate. This tells us what we hope to achieve, and now it's our kind of roles.
Each of the heads of and directors lead sections on that, from environment to property to community to what the estate is like now and what it might be in the future. And the whole thing is evaluated, and it is a book of a document when it's produced, isn't it? And it gives us that blueprint for moving forward. So focusing on the acquisition side of it, what are some of the things that ensure that an acquisition is going to be successful? What can a seller do to make sure they're in a great spot to be ready for acquisition?
Yeah, I think preparation is absolutely vital. So, for us to get to the point of even visiting an estate, we probably have done, well, we've done a huge range of work, right? So, Lara and the GIS team will have done lots of different screening. I said, I'll have done some due diligence probably. You guys will have prepared for coming to the estate, talked to a lot of different people about what the opportunity might be. We'll have taken views from, agents, solicitors before we've even come here.
And sometimes all that's under often actually, it's under very restrictive NDAs. So you're working in isolation. It's you're trying to find every bit of information you can whilst respecting and preserving the wishes of sellers and agents and things. So it's there's a lot of sleuthing going on in that early stage.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, preparation absolutely vital. We want to know that an estate is ready to be sold, and that's probably both like practically, is compliance sorted, through the way to, well, are the sellers genuinely committed to selling? And we've had experiences where we kind of feel actually they're not in that mindset yet.
Do you remember the estate visit where essentially the gentleman just wanted to speak to me for 3 hours?
Yeah,
And we were taken up there and they're like, we don't want to show you the estate, we just want a quick view on what's happening about the business.
Absolutely fantastic experience. But yeah, I mean, for that one, that was a sign for us that they're not there yet. And once we commit to moving forward with this estate, we've done our site visit, we've talked about commercial terms, we are in it at that point, and we require a huge amount of information, which can be frustrating for sellers probably, but it is all really important for us because we want to be able to come in a estate like this on day one and start working. We don't want to have to try and put square pegs in round holes and figure out what on earth we're doing here. We want to be able to make that impact from day one.
I think that's one of the amazing things you lead for us on an estate. So when we go from the acquisition phase to something becoming an OC estate, we have done a huge amount of due diligence, of title checks, of documentation, of mapping, of monitoring, of verification. So in many ways, we're taking the venture risk on an acquisition. All the unknowns, the challenges, the difficult bits, that's where we specialize in aligning and solving. And the one that comes to mind with that is the work you did at Swineley in terms of the title there. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, not my work. Kate Seymour, who was at Burgess Salmon at the time, and Ross Simpson did an incredible job there, piecing together this kind of like history of this farm, with really old title deeds, some missing, some referring to the land as leasehold, some referring to it as freehold. Complete jumble. And to get us to a point, where we were able to acquire it first of all was impressive, and subsequently they've actually managed to achieve, a full registration for us, which has added some value for us, and means we've now got an asset we can feel really confident in investing in. So that's a hugely valuable investment that we've made before we've acquired the estate to get it to a point where we can say we can really, really go for it here now.
I think it is. That's one of the things that I'm so proud the team's able to do, to deal with the abject complications and challenges and difficulties and making it simple and elegant and a real asset for us and the future.
I think we see that as one thing we're really good at. It's and it means that we can buy estates where maybe others couldn't. We can either take the view or we do the work that maybe others aren't willing to do because of the cost or whatever it might be, and it means we can end up in places like this.
What are some of the challenges we encounter in acquisitions? What makes it harder and more difficult?
I think it's vital to have really prepared professional teams. They must have the skill, they must have the resource, they must have the capacity, because otherwise the deal doesn't get going, and it's a complete nightmare, and it will lead to kind of difficult relations between purchaser and seller. So that's really, really important.
We've seen it where sellers, for the best of intentions, have used a lawyer or a solicitor that might look after the family in other ways, but they don't deal with real estate transactions, certainly not at scale. When you ask them to work in a specialism that isn't theirs, it can be really difficult.
Yeah, and elements of the way we like to work is we want to gather as much information as possible, as early as possible. So as I said, we're prepared, ready to go on day one. And that can probably come across as us asking for too much information, or we're trying to find things to trip them up on to chip the price, whatever it might be. And it's not the case. It's, we want to be able to just build this picture. And a lot of the questions we ask tend to be, help us plan for the future, not actually to appraise the title and the value of the actual acquisition we've got in front of us. Because as I said, we've done probably enough of the work at an early stage to say, well, we're in it now. I think the other thing is, having a realistic view of what a timeline is. I said this estate when you came to visit in February. So, we're here best part 10 months later, and we've been working on this acquisition, on and off, but pretty intensively.
Weekly calls,
Absolutely.
Literally with legal team, professional advisors and sellers and us. And
exactly. So, being aware that these things do take time, but it is worth sticking with it and giving everybody the opportunity to just go and do their jobs. accommodating site visits. I mean, the sellers here are fantastic, right? We had building surveyors here, we had tree story and cladding climate here to do natural capital surveys. All of that needs to be planned, executed really, really well. Reports need to be delivered. We need to appraise them. We need to then deliver them up to our own investors, and this takes a huge amount of time. So, having realistic understanding of this can't happen overnight. If you want to get the value that you're hoping to achieve out of it, if you don't, you have to be realistic about the price. So, it kind of works both ways, I suppose.
I think it's obviously worth a shout out to Ev Channing at Savills as well. Ev, we adore you. You do an incredible job. You strike a very hard bargain for your clients, but in terms of getting deals done, I think we're really lucky to work with Ev on a lot of these transactions.
Yeah, absolutely.
What went especially well here?
I think, again, touching back on the range of advisors, right? Everybody was very, very proactive. We had a very constructive dialogue throughout. It's really, really important. There were challenges, of course, like every transaction, but everybody approached in a really kind of positive mindset of like, how do we resolve this? Let's work together. And you see that. I think in most of the deals we've done, I think we've seen that genuine collaboration, which is fantastic. We haven't got lawyers point scoring. We haven't got agents trying to do one over on each other.
We definitely ended up with fantastic working relationship at the point to which we completed here with each of the professional partners that was working with the sellers. Really smooth in that regard. And it's that collaboration point. We all know we're going to encounter difficulties. We're doing this together to find a way forward.
Yeah. And we have done 12 of these now in 3 years. So we've got a process which
a quarter, George, for 3 years.
Yeah. But we know it works. So whilst we might insist on weekly calls, that's a really valuable part of our process, because it ensures that we are continuing to make progress. Nothing's getting stuck in the mud. So, we've got a process which we think is really efficient. It allows us to do the work we want to do. And we've been so fortunate. We've got every deal that we've got to what beyond heads of term stage as completed. We've got a really good track record of executing and delivering based on that hard work we do up front.
Completely agree. I remember back to one deal that we came quite close on. The only reason that one stepped away is the sellers went, we just don't want to move.
Yeah.
We're not looking to move anyone out their home where they don't want to be. So if it doesn't work for them, then things change. And actually, when one door closes, it opens another. And then we went just around the corner and bought B&H, which is a fantastic estate. And
and with our collective experience, we're now, we'll spot that earlier. You can see the signs.
Yeah.
You and Dan will see it probably from a few hours of being on the estate. You'll know.
Yeah, you totally do. So moving forward next year, what would really excite you in a next acquisition for us?
Good question. I'm not gonna say it needs to be near a good golf course. I know that's what you want me to say. What said at all? I think we've got this incredible geographic spread across the UK, but there are areas where we don't.
Cairngorms down to Cornwall, Welsh coast, Yorkshire, Scottish borders, all the way across to Norfolk. I think the team shared that there's way more than 40 different habitat types across our portfolio.
Yeah, and they're also different. So I think I'd like to see us, acquiring something at scale, which is a challenge, obviously, in particular areas of the country, but in a new geography, because it'll mean new experiences, new places, new people.
Worcestershire's lovely this time of year. Dan's smiling off camera, so that would work. So George, this is your second appearance at the Shoot Room, although in a different geography. What's changed since we last sat down with you, for you personally, for OC, or for the sector in general? What's new?
I mean, for OC, say the last 12 months, there's just...
Was it Q0 last year we did?
Yeah, January. Yeah. So, I mean, that has blown by, and, we'll have forgotten a lot of the things that we've achieved. And it's really, really, it's hard to take a step back sometimes, just go, wow, that is, some incredible progress we've made. So off the top of my head, so we're working on a really important strategic partnership, which unfortunately didn't come off for reasons outside of control. So that, a huge amount of work. Yeah, it didn't work out.
Boy, did you learn a lot.
Yeah, but so be it. And we've come away from that stronger. We've acquired Sibley back, 1,000 acres in Cornwall.
Even though Fee tried to stop us.
Very close to my heart. We've acquired Dorback now, which is, as we said, been working on that for most of this year. Planted 200,000 trees, agreed a wind option agreement with low carbon for Invergeld, incredible progress across the board. And that's kind of stuff that I've been directly involved with, let alone, the kind of impact that the team have made as a whole. It's hard. It's not believable. I think when you actually play it back, have we really done all that? It feels like it's not real.
I think the best time I see that is when new people join the team and you hear the story, and Penny's sat off camera at the moment, but describing their experience as part of OC to friends and family in the outside world. And it is super hard to believe. We've got people walking around Dorback literally laughing because they can't believe they're in this landscape and it's a thing that's happening. So it is right. We need to take those pinch ourselves moments and realize how fortunate we are to be doing what we're doing.
Absolutely.
It's really special. The sector in general, what have been some of the key messages and things that have changed across natural capital this year?
I think you put out a piece recently, right, about collaborators, not competitors. I think it's generally the feeling that the whole sector is growing in size and diversity of businesses involved. So we've either met or have worked with this huge range of businesses, from people doing kind of slightly different things, to develop natural capital, through to all the various businesses that support us. I think you're starting to see this huge network develop, and the shoot room is a fantastic way to kind of illustrate that, right? The range of guests you've had. So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me, is like there's a lot of people really trying hard to make some impact and do something ultimately good, and collectively will all contribute towards that.
I've not worked in a sector like it, so my background, academia, high level sport, the public sector for a while, then charitable sector, through to sort of commercial industry, but from a hard engineering perspective. Every one of those environments, whether it was explicit or not, was very combative, and there was an element of push the other person down to get yourself ahead. It feels so different in this sector now. And even for the environment sector, you go back 5 years, it was very protectionist. It was like, no, the right way to do this is X, and we don't do that here. And it just feels so different now. I mean, I shared a stage with Archie Struthers, the brilliant CEO at Nattergal, a week or so ago. And it was awesome to do that together. And the power of us collectively talking about nature as an asset class, and scaling conservation, and making it an investable proposition. We're so better placed to do that together, not in spite of one another. So yeah, for me, that's been a key part of the year for natural capital. The other thing was a challenge that was levied at me on that panel event. So I talked about making nature an asset class, an investable asset class. The question, or the response, came from the floor: it is an asset class. We're super fortunate to be sat here with nearly 45,000 acres under management, a portfolio valued around £150 million. It's an asset class. It's a real, living, physically rooted, completely underpinned with one of the oldest, if not the oldest assets, land, and every element of natural capital building on that. So I think 2024 has been, I feel an article coming, George, 2024 has been the year of nature becoming an asset class.
Yeah, I think I sat in on, was it Ben Sharple's, when he did his podcast with you?
Yeah, he was great.
And he said, we should not be using the word nascent.
Yeah.
And I think this year illustrates that is completely true. So how exciting to be a part of that.
And personal changes for you this year, becoming our general counsel.
Yes, thank you.
Which very, very deserved, which means we have the opportunity, and as a company wide, we've scaled a lot in terms of land this year. We're going to be scaling more in terms of people next year. So we're recording this just before Christmas. Next year, we're going to be looking to recruit another 8 roles. There's 5 new interns coming. And one of those roles I'm really excited about is someone to work alongside you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, really exciting, and great to have that opportunity to work with somebody new. And we've got an incredible range of legal work, and it's some of it is completely brand new. A lot of it is land based, so there's a lot of kind of very transactional work. We've got we're lucky to have there's 12 businesses. Every one of those estates is a business, and we have our own business as well. And as a lawyer, in a small business, you get intimately involved with every aspect of that. So yeah, it's hugely exciting, and it's the kind of
employment contracts, through to literally buying estates, through to lease agreements and grazing licenses, and
it's the challenge that I wanted when I came in house in the first place, because, as I said at the start, you kind of you deal with a transaction, you're very focused on that transaction and the nuts and bolts that come into bringing that to success, but you don't necessarily have any skills in all the various elements that go into that. So, understanding IP, understand data protection, understanding employment law, and, in house, you get thrown in the deep end, and you have to upskill yourself on that. You're never going to be a master of everything, but you can certainly contribute. And that's what I really enjoy doing here.
What do you hope you find in the person that's going to be working closely alongside you?
I mean, our approach to recruitment, is kind of like we try and find a needle in a haystack. and we're very particular.
Well, hold on. Andrew's going to be listening to this. We don't try.
Oh,
He does, right?
Yes, of course, yeah, we
Yeah.
do. But we've got a very thorough recruitment process, and we are very particular about who we hire. This saying that we've started using, like, if it's not a hell yes, it's a no, is true. Really like that. It's really cool. And every person we work with is unique and is supremely talented. So it's going to be a challenge to find the right person for our business. But I'm really excited. And I think that they will have, it's got to be, we'll try and put your hand to anything and really embrace every challenge as an opportunity. I think we're good as a business at looking at difficult situations and going, okay, right, we are going to figure out a way to do this. Not only are we going to just figure out how to do it, we're going to make it a positive for us. So somebody with that attitude, and if you bring that attitude, you're going to be highly qualified. You're going to be well educated. You're going to have the soft skills to be a lawyer. It's just finding that person that's the right person for us. And I think we will find them. Really excited about the journey.
So let's move from the positives to the health warning. So you are an incredibly high performer that has an unbelievable work ethic. The last set of Q reviews, half your colleagues rocked in and said you had the most inspirational commitment to standards and performance across the team. How on earth does someone keep up and work with you?
I think the thing is, right, so as a lawyer, you're kind of like, I'm here to try and help everybody else. So I feel like that kind of inherent, like, well, if I don't do this, then that lets down, our natural capital team or our environment team or our operations team. So, you feel, because you generate these relationships and everybody's doing such impactful things, the least you can do is try and make their lives a bit easier. And that's what I try and do. And I think, that's where in this privileged position as a lawyer, you can hopefully, break down problems and alleviate them and enable people to go and do what they really want to achieve. And that's that's what I really enjoy about working here.
I love how honest we are about the way we work and what we do, because to the wrong person, they hear, oh my God, I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to do that all the time. Of course, that's not what I want. To the right person, they hear, oh my God, I might find my people and my purpose and my opportunity to be exceptional. And I think for any lawyers out there who want a role that matters, that believe in the environment, believe in impact, believe in adventure and working together, there cannot be a better job out there than working with you. I mean, it's such an opportunity for people. So we're going to start teasing that around Christmas time and then go advertising in the new year. So if you see this and want to work with George, get in touch. If you were to call out an audacious goal for 2025 and we were sat at the next estate going, I cannot believe we pulled that off, what would you call out?
I mean, it feels to me like the 2025 is like the year of delivery for us. So we've got, these really well progressed tree planting schemes, woodland creation schemes at Invergeld and B&H. We've got, our BNG schemes, which are ready to go at Morlocott and Shropham. So it feels to me like, getting to, this time next year and us having continue to make the same kind of cadence of progress that we have on those estates, would be really, really fulfilling. And anything above that is a bonus, but I know what it's like in this business, right? So I've been here since quite early on, and every year we cannot believe when we got to the end of the year, Christ, have we really done that this year? So, I mean, I don't know. You tell me, Rich.
I think we have an acquisition next year. I hope. I think we might have an acquisition next year that doubles the size of the portfolio in one acquisition. I think there's a site out there with the work we're doing to find those opportunities. I think there's a site that will complete portfolio one for us, that will take us close to 100,000 acres, which we think is that iconic measure of the most significant landholding in the UK. I think we might find one of those, and when we're talking about it next year, we're going to be high-fiving you for the most incredible acquisition.
I probably need some help, so please apply for my job.
So our time's coming to an end. We could talk forever and do, but I want to ask one more question, which is, what is the question I haven't asked you that you wish I had?
I think it's what have we done collectively as a team this year? We have, and again, another great reason to apply for the role we're going to be advertising is, we all work remotely, but we build this incredible culture, and we get together quarterly and we have these incredible experiences. So, just thinking about the ones we've had this year, I was running at Invergeld in March. We then went to Shropham. I remember walking a lay-on with you and Roger Bull from Burgess Salmon on an amazing summer's afternoon. We've been surfing with the team in November on this incredible sunny winter's evening. So those experiences, I think we cannot talk more about because they're so integral to our journey as a team and as a group.
That remote bit you mentioned, I think people sometimes say, how can you possibly have a team culture when you're remote? I don't feel like we work remotely. It's not like we've never been an office-based team. We started with Dan and I in the middle of COVID. No one was in an office. So we've been able to pull from the greatest people across the entire UK as a result of being dispersed, and people who are living and working in the most amazing landscapes and environments. And, each of our properties are in unique rural locations. So of course we're dispersed. I think you just have to rewrite the rule book in terms of how you communicate, how you work together. You and I had worked together for months before we met in person.
Yeah, that's right.
On Teams calls, but you've just got to over communicate, I think. And that ends up building a really amazing base and foundation of a culture, because you're having to be really purposeful, over communicate, not assume people understand things. And that just spreads to better relationships, full stop.
Yeah.
George, thank you so much for appearing again. Thank you for being the most incredible general counsel anyone could hope for. You have built this team and this portfolio, and we would be a shadow of what we are without you. And I can't wait for you to get your number 2 next year. Thank you.
Thank you very much.